tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. What is up, everybody? This is your man Frank Castle, your Sorcerer Supreme of Saturday nights here on Truth Frequency Radio. And I'm here with Paula, my etherical translator.
Hello, everyone.
Wow. She laughs at me as soon as we start the show. Every time she looks right at me and laughs.
I might have to. I love it.
And I don't know what that was. But we are happy. We're back. We're ready to rock and roll. Shout outs to Chris and Cherie. We love you guys. Without you, we wouldn't be here doing this. At least not like this.
No.
Not like this one. So if you really enjoy the show, really enjoy it, don't forget to sign up.
Get a subscription.
Get the app. Get it anytime you want, because the truth is just sitting there waiting. And it's like, let me out of the app. No, I know. I'm silly tonight, guys. A lot of things going on again. Lots of interesting things to discuss this evening. We watched a story, the Joe Rogan Experience, with Alex Jones.
Yes.
Alex Jones is a talk show host, a reporter, news guy. A lot of people think he's just crazy because of his style. It's very out there. He gets very worked up. He kind of yells and shakes and cries, and he pleads with people to understand, but he's really just reporting the information. This is the guy that brought me in years and years and years and years ago. Just listening to him, it made me know I wasn't alone in terms of waking up. And I'm not an Alex Jones freak like people think. Like, oh, you love Alex Jones. I don't listen to his show anymore. I haven't in a very long time, because he'll argue it's not fear-mongering. I'll argue that 3 hours of the show, I'm ready to, put up a sand wall in front of my house and start, throwing grenades over the wall and screaming rebellion. So it's good for what it is. It's good to get a general sense of the information, but this guy's reporting on everything. So it's going to make you a little crazy.
Yes.
It's going to make you different and weird. Just think about how weird we are, and think about how weird it is to him getting the information, reading it out. You don't always get these things right. Some stories are fake. Some are out there just to kind of float out there to get you to go down a rabbit hole. And then the truth is like wrapped into some of the crazy stuff. Yeah. Well, let's get right to it. Right in the middle of the show. All right. He had a little smoke and he had a little drink. And it's funny because people, at least the people I've encountered, are like, wow, Alex Jones smoked pot and then drank. And that overshadows the fact of what he said.
Right.
And we're not even going to get into the political stuff. It started with Pizzagate, right? It was fully explained. Probably better than anyone can explain it to this point. Okay? With the Pizzagate stuff, let's just take away the pizzeria. We know that they're doing horrible things to children. We know they're pedophiles. We know that the roundups have begun of these pieces of trash. So these are all stories to get you to look off to the side so you're not focused when the arrests start occurring. Now, I take it further. I know they're drinking bloods, raping the kids, getting the energy. An hour and 30 minutes into the show, it switches from Pizzagate and them wanting the energy from the raping of the children into the elites. So you can't hang Alex Jones you can't hang the messenger.
No.
Right? People have a tendency to do this. They're like, well, Alex Jones is nuts. He turns around and says, interdimensional beings are sending the information. However, we're receiving it either through the DNA or we literally are connected to these beings, like through the DNA, or they're using some kind of, call it telepathy or technology to download the information to us so that we build the machine and then they can come. Now, there's actually a lot of things happening in that statement. He talks about artificial intelligence broadcasting from another location lower under us. I told you guys it can't go up past 4. Right? We're like from, if you want to put levels on it, we're from like 15. Right? This is how I try to, like 15 being the top.
The densities, you mean.
The densities, yes, going up and down in the scales. So right now we're getting 3 going into 4. So etherically, there's an AI there. It's on your dollar bill. Then he starts talking about the interdimensional beings that are involved. Well, I was looking at you.
Oh, I was so happy to hear it. I was so happy to see it, especially because we watch the Joe Rogan podcast all the time.
Right. So he's like, how could you even say this? And he's like, listen, I've been studying this stuff and not that stuff. I don't esoteric stuff. The gnosis. I don't study that. I study the whole thing.
Right. Because
the broader political picture of the entire world. And when you look and study across the board, it all roads lead to the same places. This is what we say over and over again. Whether you're going to smoke DMT and see it, whether you're going to look at the paperwork and see what they're saying over and over. You know, when a computer today, you load information into it, it zips it up. If it has to search, it'll search every camera all over the world to find the face and recognize it down to the... It takes us a little bit longer. And it's there, and we're recognizing it on all the levels. You got the crazy guy, Alex Jones, all the way over here. Then you got, and he's not crazy. The work makes you crazy because he's trying to explain things, and you're worried about him. So you attack his credibility, and you attack the person.
Right.
You say, well, he thinks he's a real news person, and all he does is yell and scream. You don't hear what he's saying. You go, well, he's just yelling. Well, there's a bunch of us that yell all the time, right? So we hear him and go, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about. Like I grew up in a household with 100 people like him. So when he's yelling and screaming, he has my attention. I'm not being turned away. But after a while, I've had enough, just like everything else. But he laid it out thick, perfectly. Now, he comes from a Christian background, and he knows the demons and the transcendence and the ascension and the shift. And a guy, Joe Rogan, I'm not taking snaps at people at all. I love that guy. He's like a hero to me, right? I'm doing radio and podcast because when he started his, I originally started my international heist radio show. But he smokes DMT with Eddie Bravo, and he was looking at Alex like he had 6 heads, which goes to show you that they're not seeing it as well.
No.
But they weren't dissing him. They want credibility. How do you lend credibility factor to something that you've never seen?
No, they wanted proof. They wanted literal proof.
Yeah. Now, where is this? Now, we've discussed it's on the walls in Egypt.
Well, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's all around us. Yeah.
It's in the art. It's in the music. It's in the movies. It's in the television shows. But it gets looped into crazy, right? Is it crazy? What we're witnessing now, bunch of people hating on another bunch of people, ready to kill each other over a guy named Trump, just because of you like him,
or
need
you
to
don't.
burn.
Yeah.
Blah. Like, look what you're watching. You're watching a complete breakdown. You're watching the beauty hiss. And you're like, wait, you're beauty and love. You don't hiss.
Right.
You're watching it take place. You're watching the ugly raise out of people.
Right.
They should be passing it. They should be grounding and passing this on, right? Because no one knows what to do at this point. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but what's being done? You know, more and more as Trump helps, I don't even like to talk about this guy, as he goes into his thing, and it's to be seen. Hold his feet to the fire, but don't run around hating everyone. It's just hate is perpetuating hate is what I'm trying to get at. And it drives me nuts. I come from a background of anger and holding on to something, eye for an eye. You did this to me when I was 3. I'm going to get you when I'm 26. And now that I'm 42, I want to still smack you with a bat. You can't be that guy.
No.
I go through the struggle just like you do. You know, there's no fame. There's no bright lights. There's no stage with 1,000 people watching like that. There's just ears listening. They're listening for truth. They want truth. You're starved for it. I'm starved for it. I go out and I search my way, come back and report on it. That's what I do. I hope to grab the ear of someone that wants to take the journey naturally.
Right.
I mean, and if not the stories themselves, take what you want from it. They're interesting enough. They're real. They're real to me. Here's a big thing. We're sharing experiences. We're beginning to see more. How many of you feel the shift? How many of you in the chat rooms understand what's going on? How many out there want to know what's really happening? Or would you prefer to just turn a blind eye and continue doing what you're doing into not delivering any relief into your systems that guarantee anything divinely? It just doesn't. It just doesn't flow. By the way, shout outs to everybody in the chat room, guys. I love you. And I love everyone else out there. What we're going to witness in the coming year is mass confusion.
Oh, yeah.
In that mass confusion, you're not going to know who to trust.
No.
But, Paula, I want to talk to you and I want to ask you some questions tonight because you seem to be going through a version of this slightly different than what I went through, but now it's beginning to occur more.
Oh, yeah. We were talking last week about the Frank and Josh were talking, and it was I don't remember how the conversation started, but Frank had made a point about the firmament and what's out there waiting for us, and there are these entities and beings, and you can really tap into that, and angels as well. And there are these angels that are just waiting for an assignment. They're like unemployed angels. They're just hanging out waiting. And
everyone has an angel or a guardian
or a guide that it wants to be of assistance. But there are so many people that are not accepting of that there are all of these beings that are waiting to help. So we had the show. It was a great show. There was a lot of conversation that went on after the show. And I said, I'm going to put this to the test. I'm going to see. I'm going to call to these angels and see if they can, add some relief. So I started with small things like, it may sound silly, but, just eliminating traffic and sending love ahead to wherever I was going, and then sending love ahead on the way back, and, keeping an eye over certain people and making sure they're okay. And little by little, everything that I was requesting was unfolding right in front of my eyes. And it was amazing and it was fun. And then I just kept putting it to the test and kept putting it to the test. Now,
Wait, before you go on, I just want to say, this is what you're hearing her say. When we talk about manifesting your reality, you ask for something, you hold a frequency, and you wait for the answer to come. That doesn't mean you stand there and wait on the corner. What you do is go about your business.
and you try to align with the thing you're manifesting. So you can manifest anything you need. You can manifest a glass of water if you need one. You just have to be in the frequency to receive it when it comes, because a lot of people ask for things and pray for things.
What's a miracle? You tell me all the time.
A bathroom when you need one.
And you're like, well, you would say to that person, thank you so much.
Thank
or here,
you so
could go
much,
ahead of
yeah.
me. I see that you have to go, oh, thank God for you.
Yeah, that's a miracle. People are waiting for these gigantic.
You want to see someone walk on water.
Yeah, and it's not that. It's what you need at the time you need it being delivered to you. But you have to be in the frequency to receive it. So if you're asking for something, but you really don't think you deserve that thing you're asking for, you're not going to receive it because you're not in alignment for what you're asking for. So I'm talking to these angels, and I asked for traffic to clear up, and traffic cleared up, and it was the most amazing thing. So I'm thanking my angels, and I'm giving them more and more assignments. And it was just amazing to me to see. I believe that you have to believe it before you see it. And a lot of people don't think that way. They have to see it before they believe it.
This is a new way of learning. We've talked about this on the show.
You have to have faith.
You have to say, look, universe, I'm ready. Come on and show me. And then because it doesn't show you in 3 seconds, don't deny it, because it's going to show you.
Oh, of course.
It's going to show you in every way that it knows that you'll notice.
And it's funny because I knew that this would work. And, you know, coming home every night and explaining to Frank what happened each day was, I mean, it was as simple as Frank has his Squeak, and Squeak is his life. That's his pussycat. And I have an Oscar, and Oscar and Frank do not get along. And it was as simply as, you know, please help Oscar not be afraid to sleep in the bed with us anymore. And I asked before I went to bed, and I woke up and Oscar was wrapped around my feet. So you really do get what you ask for, but you have to believe you deserve it. And then other simple, small things, you know, there's a person that I work with that emits a lot of energy, and I needed a way to combat that energy, and a solution arrived.
Now, let me just say this. There's a lot of you at work, at other places, that bang heads constantly. You feel like, oh, I hate this one. Or, oh, this one over here. Right?
Or it could just be a weird energy you feel around you.
Or it's the boss waving, standing over you. Right? All day long. We're going to be forced to repeat all of these things until we learn not just how to combat it, right? But how to kind of deal with it and transmute it.
Right.
Because nothing really changes except a gesture and then a word, and then they're still rude or whatever. But now all of a sudden something's different in there. They could still be them, but you become a better...
how you perceive that energy is up to you. And if you perceive it in a way that doesn't affect you, then it doesn't affect you. And it's just been a lot of discovery about manifesting what you need at the time you need it. And I did it for a week. I started Monday, and I'm still asking angels for help. I mean, I'm sending angels to other people and asking them to help other people. And I got a very strange call this morning. I had sent an angel to my sister, And she called me this morning and she needed my help with something. And I just thought that was amazing. I mean,
does she ever need your help? This is what we're getting at.
No,
It's not,
my sister does
have
everything
to-
by herself. She never needs anyone's help.
Everybody
She's
wants
amazing.
things to be justified now. They want it like that, right?
Right. But,
So
but that's
we're going to
not,
show them.
Yeah. Okay.
This
yeah.
isn't normal.
Yes, it's not normal. And if you want to play a little bit and you want to try and test yourself, you'd be amazed because there's no way of failing at this. The key is you really do need to have belief that it works. You have to have belief in yourself. When you're asking for things, you have to believe that you deserve them.
G's saying something interesting. One of the things they showed me under one of the DNP experiences was the shift in the timeline, right? But it's your timeline,
right?
And you go. They would say, look, this is where you're walking on this line,
right?
But and then they would show me multiple ones, and they would be lit up at different variations of light. And the bright one is the good one, right? So you're like, no, that's the one I want to be on.
Right,
like,
that's the one I want. Yeah.
And you jump timelines and time loops by just changing a thought pattern.
Oh,
and
I've called
your
them.
whole world changes.
Yes.
Because people think you have to do some crazy adventure and see beings and go nuts. It's really a thought pattern. It's a new frequency.
You just change your thought pattern.
Your brain and body is a receiver for these frequencies. Yes. So you'll know the difference.
Oh, I call upon my better self from another universe all the time. I've
justified being in your presence for a couple of years now. The things that have occurred, they've proven themselves
yes.
over and over and over, nonstop. Not just with me saying, "Hey, this is going on." She walked into a room completely not on any plant medicines whatsoever, nothing. Just walked into the room and said, "Hey, there's a giant purple light coming through the thing into your head, coming through the ceiling."
Yes.
And I was going, right before that happened, going, "There's this purple light coming into my face through the ceiling. I don't know what's happening." And then the energy's coming from me, and it's jumping to this person. And then you're like, "Yo, this thing just jumped out of one thing into your hand."
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Right, but these are the things, right? Like we take them for granted sometimes.
Right. But
when you start to notice and roll with it, show me again. Show me another one.
Right.
What do you call me?
Yes.
Call me that again. Put it into the truth frequency.
Yeah.
Right. Are you trying to deceive me?
Well, I don't doubt it.
Or are you telling me the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at your face. Let me see what you're doing. People could be very good liars. Does he look up to the left? Does he look up to the right? What does that mean? Check it out. Throw it through your spider sense. Run it through. Take what you need out. I just want to flip back for a second because I didn't touch on this.
Sure.
But because this all happened all during this week anyway.
My sweetie, baby, cutie in the chat room. I love you, G.
So Alex Jones goes buck crazy. Right, I totally forgot I had this up. That's why I have to jump back to it.
That's right.
But we'll bring it back to your story because it's all relative.
No, it's
right. And this guy, David Seaman, is having an alien. This person, I don't want to start yelling at people, but this person's like, David Seaman is having an alien meltdown on Twitter right now, and this will be used to discredit us. It's controlled opposition.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Twitter yourself and tell him to chill out. He watched the Rogan video, and now he's freaking out over Pizzagate and blah, blah, blah. Right? Now, and that's in the Pizzagate exposed room for anyone on Facebook that wants to go take a look, because this is the nonsense I've dealt with when you're just trying to wake up and people kill the messenger, because you're changing now. Right?
Oh, yeah,
this is what I meant. You've seen me do stuff, and you've been witness to it, but now it's happening to you. It's always happened to you, but now it's happening more like
I'm accepting
like a version of
more.
what's more like me.
Absolutely.
Like when they talk, you're like, wait, somebody just talked to me.
Yes.
And it's not like the thing in my head.
No.
So this guy has a meltdown. They call a meltdown, and all his posts you can see right here are all on the Blue Avians. Right, all the stuff that we talk about on the show. Toth, Ra, and Ra is. I disagree with everyone that thinks Ra is Satan.
Right.
But I'm just throwing it out there. He's not Marduk. Marduk twisted it and took the name of Ra. That's how that occurred, right? So it's like I go out there and I'm like, yo, man, I'm Superman. And you're like, dude, you're not Superman. You're Spider-Man. It's like, no, I'm Superman.
No, you're Frank Castle.
And he's like, no, I'm Superman. And then that's how that happened. There was a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of deception in your history. But David goes off. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
But he's freaking out because all roads lead to the truth. Everything written in the history and the Egyptian hieroglyphics and all the Sanskrit writings and all that, all of it has to do with this stuff.
Right.
All of it. And what did they do? Attack him over how this is going to hurt Pizzagate. Let me tell you guys something. These guys are having sex with kids to get the energy from the guys that are opposite of these blue avians. So the opposite. So a demonic force. Like, think of the scale. They're from high up in 9th density, because we'll work in the densities again.
Right.
15 being the high, 0 being the low. They're from like 9. We're all from the top anyway, right? They come down because the guys down at 0 and up to like 4 are messing around, and we're all connected. So while one group is trying to get up and in,
Yeah, they can't go higher.
They can't do it without you.
Yeah.
These guys can't go further because it's like they left their DNA bond behind because we're
Right.
them. And they're like, well, we said we'd be back. They're
Right.
back already. For those that are like, oh, what happened? In 96, there was a little event with the reptilians where they fully stepped in, archonically, everything locked into their timeline. These guys flew right back and
Right.
they were sending spheres back in 86. People were reporting the blue spheres starting to show up. We'll talk about this more when we get back. I was watching a movie. The blue spheres were in this thing too with Keanu Reeves. We'll talk about that. We'll talk more with Paula on her experiences with angels. We are Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. It's a dream. A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world. Thought you were alive until you felt my pain.
You're back. You know, sometimes it feels like forever in between those commercials, and other times we just get up, run out, come down, sit down, back.
Yeah, back.
All right, so the movie with Keanu Reeves that I watched, and I told you this, I think last week, I was going, oh my God, he was in the blue sphere.
Yes,
he had to be
yes.
born in this like this whale blubber. And then he put his consciousness into the human avatar, and it was Keanu Reeves.
Right.
And the giant robot comes out and starts attacking anyone that attacks him. And all the different spheres like start rising, and they start blinking and stuff and giving off some kind of resonance. And animals just start jumping into the spheres, and they start turning into little Earths. They look like little Earths. So I've been on the spheres. I've talked about them ad nauseum, and I love talking about them. It's so interesting. You could go into something the size of like a softball, and inside of it is gigantic. There's so much we don't know, and there's so much that we don't understand. So the people have been. There's another thing. I wrote it down right here. Stop with the drama. So is it controlled opposition? It's all connected, people. Stop with the drama. Stop jumping on someone who finds a piece of the truth. Because remember, there's truth in everything.
Everything. I mean, I'm reading a comment in the chat room from Jay. And, you know, I know there is a spark of divinity in all things. And there truly is. There truly is. Even the word divine has been dumbed down over the years. There is a spark of divinity in all things.
It gets to where you get to a certain conscious level and you're like, oh, I hate that. And they come out and go, Don't say that again.
Don't hate.
And then when like you'll have a DMT experience, you'll see the divine spark in it. And you'll go, oh, so but it's corrupted. And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't know. Like, and you can't get mad at something that its purpose is there to do that. You could dislike it. You could move on. You could be indifferent, but you can't hate it. Not if you're going to rise.
No, you have to accept it.
Right?
Because it's all true. It's all true. What we like and what we don't like. It's all true.
Us alien guys, and for me, aliens are a joke. We laugh about this all the time. ETs and aliens.
But alien means a lot of different things.
We deal with Toth.
Aliens are angels too.
Yeah,
they're alien to us.
Everything is an alien to the next thing over, except it has a divine spark in it that's connected to you. So it's really not alien.
Yeah.
Once again, it goes back to the game of peekaboo, right? It goes, what can I become in this space? Like, what can the consciousness jump into and become?
Right.
Now it's, look at me. Ooh, look at you. Ooh,
yeah,
I'm scared.
Look at
ooh,
me.
Ooh, run.
Yeah, I'm going to believe this, but I'm not going to believe that. And okay, I'll believe those two things, but that's it. And you're just crazy if you're going to talk about the third.
So now these people are attacking a very smart man, and I'm not taking a side. No, I'm just showing you. The Pizzagate people are going to start attacking the dude because he's on point with us, and he's seeing it. He's like, oh man, look at all this research.
Right.
It's right there in front of us. It's been there the whole time. He starts freaking out the way I sound when I start going nuts.
Yeah.
And then his whole crew jumps him. Look, this is what they said. In this time, brother's going to fight brother over ideals that are nonsense. Well, you should look.
True civil war.
Yeah. Come on, guys. And they've been pushing that stuff too. What's been in the movies and the news and everything, civil war, civil war, civil war. Before we take another step, it's time for my disclaimer. This is the story of my journey and my journey alone, but also Paula's. I don't suggest you try this at home alone, that is, unless you're ready. Then by all means proceed. But first, find yourself a reputable shaman who knows what he or she is doing, and travel safe in the love and the light. And remember, the universe rewards bravery.
I think I have a pretty good shaman.
I mean, who would have thought that the
Who would've
political
thought?
people? Yeah, well, forget it. I'm just a rapper that didn't know any better, right?
No.
But slowly, though, over the course of the show, I've been letting out why I know certain things. That should be credibility enough.
Right.
You can look that stuff up. Okay. So you're attacking people, brother attacking brother, relationships going broke. You're trying to hold on, but the ideals are just too different.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird energy
The
swinging
sacred
around.
feminine turning around, spitting on people. The masculine giving no respect to the feminine whatsoever, using its ability to take power from the other. This is all going to stop. One of the things that's interesting, Jones made a mention of this, to get the whole thing to stop, what you have to do is attack the guys doing the ritual because it's actually a magic spell. Go figure he started talking about magic in the middle of his alien interdimensional rant.
Yeah, and he stays pretty fact-based. So
he's like,
that was
I'm
good.
just reporting it. It's what they're saying.
Yeah, he's just
write the
telling
paper.
his truth, on
Right,
what
so-
he's learning.
Now you have two guys that are being attacked on credibility because they just said, AI, aliens, darkness,
Yep, it's all real.
other beings, blue avians, blue spheres.
Yep.
All right, well, we've been talking about this. We've been on the air for a year now. So, and I've been talking about this on shows for 4 years now.
It's almost a year, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was talking about stuff in the hip hop world where they were doing satanic rituals where they were putting demons into the master. I was standing there and they threw me out. They try to get us to do all kinds of dirty, gross things, and we wouldn't do any of it. And we're like, we're not punks. We don't need the fame. We didn't know it was even going to be like that in there. We thought it
Right.
was going to be cool, like we're rock stars.
Yeah,
we were the
totally
lowest
out of your
form.
element. Yeah.
The guy that was sweeping the place was getting less garbage than we were. And I'm like, oh man, like this sucks. I don't want to be here. I just do this on my own. So stop with the drama. Stop attacking everyone. Stop calling people crazy for things that been around longer than your idea. Your idea of this world.
Right.
Their idea has come from perhaps something that could raise your consciousness if you didn't attack it head on Some things need to go, some things need to stay. Remember to always ground yourself too. Ground yourself, then go into the ball game. So this is what really got me hype about your story this week. You said they started talking to you? They started answering you.
Answering.
Not by action, but literally answering.
Yes, actually, yeah, literally answering. So I don't see what Frank sees, but I feel what Frank sees. And so in having these talks with these angels, I said, I'm ready to see you if you want to show yourself to me. And I'm ready to converse with you. Not so much, I'm asking a question out in the air and I'm getting a feeling back. And they were actually answering back. And it's been amazing. It really is. And I think that they're giving me as much as they know that I can handle. And I appreciate that.
How weird was it?
Not weird
No,
at all.
Let me ask it because I've been waiting for this.
No, not weird at all. Not weird at all.
When you heard the voice back, did it freak you out?
Not at all.
What did it make you feel all right?
Yeah.
Did you question it like you're a demon?
No. Not at all.
Like
not
me
once.
Like that.
No. I know. I'm not like you.
Everyone's a demon until I figure you out.
Yeah.
And then I never get to really figure you out. I just kind of watch the truth. I discern the crap out of things.
Yeah. No, I have a different belief system.
No, nothing gets to you.
Nothing gets to. No, not at all.
You know what we all literally strive for, at least in my world. I went under once and looked at Paula, and there was a being staring at her. It was like nose to nose with her, but she had this blue highlight around her, almost like the force was protecting her. And she was just watching TV. And I'm like, yo, this thing's like up in your grill. And she's like,
and I'm like, I don't care.
She just,
It's okay.
she goes,
Yeah,
she
it's okay.
didn't even look at me. She's like, yeah, they can't get to me. They can't
Yeah.
bother me. And I'm like, how the hell are you doing that? And it just looked at me like, oh, I could get you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what do you mean? I'm the one that's practicing constantly. Right. And these things are funny, but you have to have a sense of humor about this. And there's not, by the way, for people like, oh, this is new agey. You're ill-informed. We bash the new agers constantly for being hippies that don't actually do anything. Grounding and loving is great, but it's more than that. It's more than, hey, I made these beads for you. It's more than that.
Right.
It is more. You're not doing enough. Trust me.
It's
Because you're usually just
self-discovery.
walking around going, yo, you got $3? You got $3? You got $5? Yeah, I'll here's a rock I found. And it loves you. Now you got $10. Like, that's more to life than that. There's more than your grounding work. We're here. Chris says this best. We got so much more work to do, lighting the fires, getting them back on track again, like igniting, because you are all waking up. This is every layer, every level.
Absolutely.
We have Paula. We have David Seaman. We have Alex Jones. We have Joe Rogan. We have Frank Castle. We have Chris Gio. We have Cherie Gio. On and on and on and on. Look, these are all different people.
Right.
We're
Coming
nothing
from all different walks of
Paula
life.
and I are complete opposites. But for the opposites that we are, it's strangely,
There's a lot of similarity. Yeah.
it works perfectly. But so go ahead, continue. I want to know. You said something about
tell
how
me,
you
what do you
hear
wanna
them.
know?
No, because I want people to hear about it the way I heard about it from you. Because they get excited to hear about the beings. Oh, the beings started talking to Paula? Yes, they did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always heard them, but this was different.
This is
It
like
was a conversation back and forth. Usually when I ask, I get a feeling back, and it's like someone's whispering in my ear. This was more like a two-way conversation, and it was amazing because it didn't matter who I was talking to. It was like I was talking to a consciousness. And when you speak to a consciousness, there's no reason to be afraid of anything.
No.
It's either, you either get an answer or you don't. And
if it's dark, you usually feel it.
oh yeah, but
There's like no ego to it if it's light. It's
there's
just
no
a
darkness
conversation.
allowed. I got
Yeah,
I got the
that's
bubble
another
on.
thing
There's
with you.
no darkness allowed. I mean, I had a moment during the week where I wanted to spray someone with demon spray. If I had if we could bottle demon spray. Like when Frank goes up behind me with the crystal wand, like a demon is going to pop out. It was kind of like that moment. I
want to make
demon
like
spray.
a little smoke DMT thing. So you like a little Batman pellet, like you smack it on the floor and boof DMT, and everybody just inhales it, and you run off, do your
yeah,
thing.
and then they live a happier life. Yeah.
And then they go, oh my,
oh my God,
and
I've
then
been
they
living
share
life
an
the wrong way.
experience.
Yeah.
But But yeah, so this is
We'll see
interesting.
if Morgan Freeman will write.
We'll narrate the whole thing. So this is how it starts. So Chris and I were just talking before the show.
Oh, do you want to mention what's happening later?
Oh, I'm going to be on Beyond the Veil on the second and third hour tonight, answering questions. I'll let Chris explain it. He knows it a little better. I think we might be live video on Facebook tonight.
That'll be awesome. I cleaned the house today, so I feel good.
In in the psychedelics and philosophy room, if I'm not mistaken. So I hope you guys tune in and join us right immediately following the show. But yeah, a little bit at a time and being patient with yourself.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you're patient with yourself and you tell the universe, yo, I'm ready. Remember, you still have blockages. If you're not doing DMT and taking ayahuasca and having a shaman and being all spiritual, then you have to find another way to do it. You should be breathing and meditating it all the time and just listening and asking and incurring. Don't think you're crazy, and understanding when a thought comes in that's that has to be questioned.
Yeah, when a thought comes in, a lot of those thoughts are not your own. They're not even your own thoughts. So everything needs to be questioned.
Weird, but when you're a slacker, just a little bit, in that moment of slack, that's when they attack. Yeah,
because it's a lot of it is a thought form consciousness. You know, a lot of it is a massive thought form that's bigger than yourself. So if you're in a certain situation, if you're in the city or downtown or on the subway or on a bus, you know, a lot of those thoughts that come in are not yours. They're like a collective, a mass consciousness.
I was walking down the street. I literally see the vibrations change, right? So I come out, I ground myself, drop the anchor to the center of Earth. I wrap around the core of the planet. The anchor, I root in, I say, okay, let's go. And I start walking, and you can see, take deep breaths while you walk, just enjoy it, and then look over.
Yeah, look
over. And then
over.
say, hey, I'd like to see. Hey, I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Third time, hey, I'd like to see.
And you'll see.
It'll start opening, and you'll go, oh, there's a thing standing right here that's been going.
And then that's when you say, I don't want to see anymore. I don't want to see anymore.
When you're like, I don't want to drink no more. And this thing's just like, nah, you're gonna go right there. You're gonna get a pack of cigarettes and a Budweiser, and you're like, no, I'm not. I gotta get eggs and bread and stuff. And you just go do the other. They're like, well, that's addiction. Addiction is lack of being connected to source.
Right.
It's coming out. You could argue with me all day. That's why it's my show. You can't argue with me about it. But you're gonna see, because I've been talking about the blue avians from day one.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, these dudes took me into a sphere, but left my body in Paula's dining room. And Toth came out, and you guys know the story. I tell it a million times. Then I was like, okay, we ate, and I was like, that didn't happen, right? I'm still battling that thought at that time, and we smoked again, and the first thing that happened is Toth is like, oh, you're back. We have something for you to do. And I was like, are you... You're real. And he's like, dude, come. He didn't call me dude. He was like, come here. Yeah. And I touched him, and I grabbed his arm, and it was solid muscle. And I went, dude, you have braids in your hair, like braids. And it's like hair mixed with bird feather, bird head, man body. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I created thought. Happen. And I said, that's great. What else did you do? And he goes, let me show you.
Yeah. You know, and again, it's like the more you ask for, the more you get. Now, meanwhile, I can't see, but I know this is happening because I can feel it happening.
Absolutely. And
it's like I couldn't see my big tiger, but when he came and laid on me, I knew he was there.
That was an amazing experience.
Me. Yeah.
You were, first glance, I look over, and Paula looked like she was petting the air. But it was more than that. Something was pushing against her because I seen her face indent, like as if something was pushing against her cheek. So I'm like, wait, what? So she goes, there's a tiger in the bed with us. And I blinked and looked again, and this tiger was staring. It was gigantic faced, looking at me, and she was petting it, and it was rubbing against you, and it was physically pushing her. And I'm like, oh.
Because all you have to do is change your vibration a little bit, and you'll see or hear or feel the same experience in a different way.
You can argue with the experience as well.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, you will be left alone at one point in the truth, in that frequency. It is what it is.
It's that truth.
And then
at
you'll
that
see
moment.
it and you'll go, no, that's not true. No, that's not how it happened. And it's like, no, it happened just like that. But from your perspective, that's what you saw, but that's what's really happening. So you could argue with it all day, but the truth is right there.
Because for them, you see, for us humans on this planet, we view time in a different way. Everything is linear. It has a start, a middle, and an end. And everywhere else in the universe, time is not like that. Time is happening all around you. And it's happening for us as well, all around us. But if you're not open enough to the idea of that, it's a very hard understanding. Like deja vu, it's not something that did happen or didn't happen or is going to happen. It's something that's happening now to you, and you're getting a glimpse of it happening now because it's all happening right now.
Everything is happening at the moment.
Because it always is now.
Listen, guys, I see you guys, what you're talking about in the chat room. I saw Corey 6 months before Corey even came out.
Right.
Inside the blue sphere from the exact thing we were just talking about a few minutes ago.
Yes.
I was with Toth. He said, look around. I looked around. It looked like the cantina with the lights on.
From Star Wars?
From Star Wars, but everything was made of gold, and you can see out of the sphere we were looking at energy being transmuted from the sun. It's a long story, but I started looking around, and there were some dangerous looking beings. They were like raptor beings, and they were being put into these white energy balls and being shown what they were doing, like wrong. They were trying to not convert them, but like show them, like, by eating everything in their sight and dominating it, you're never going to get up in level. Like, they were trying to show them, like, this exists, and they were scared and freaking out, and they were like, stay away from them. But when I saw my reflection, I saw Corey I didn't know his name was Corey. He was sitting across from where I was standing, and he was sitting with all these other beings, and he was just staring straight ahead, and I thought he was on drugs, and I'm like, oh, another human. So when I ran over to him, he was just staring straight ahead.
Right.
And I'm like, what's wrong with him? And I saw my reflection behind him, and I was a light being. I wasn't even me.
Human, right.
I wasn't human. Toth was like, dude, you're here. This is where you're from. He didn't call me dude, though. But so when I try to talk to him for a second, then I realized, by being in his face the way I was, even though he wasn't even looking at me, I said, I might be scaring this guy, because I was scaring myself. I was like, oh my God, I'm a light being. Oh my God, this is happening. Like, I pulled that.
Right.
And I backed away, and the Ra-Tier walked right next to me. The giant blue avian girl that he talks about was standing right next to me with a male, and they were so gorgeous.
Right.
Right. So I'm like, they were a lot taller than me. So I said, there was two brown ones behind them. They're birds that can't fly. They're humanoid. They were long and thin. I thought they weren't there a second ago when I was just standing there. So I turned to my left, and boom, there they were. I wanted to touch her lips. I thought it was a beak, but it was little, like our lips. And I kept saying, I want to, and they just came over to me and were like, don't you dare do it. Because I touch everything. That's one of my bad points.
Pusher.
I'm a button pusher. So she walked right up to me and said, no, go ahead. And then all I did was touch it, like, boop, right? And then I went, oh, those are soft. Those are lips. That's not a beak. Like, it's just orangey. Right. It's just slightly different than what we're used to. And then she hugged me, like, really hugged me. And I said it was the best hug I've ever had in my life. It was just amazing. It felt like I was with, like, an ultimate mother of some kind.
Right.
Later on, just to find, we talked about this a few weeks ago when they were here. They were calling me Ra-Tier L, which was weird. The mantis, it just goes on and on, guys. Everything is there. Right. What are you willing to do for it? You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to drink baby's blood and be a pedophile.
Just
and do
meditate
rituals on the full moon.
Yeah.
All you got to do is meditate. It's like the dark side of the force or the light side of the force. What do you want to do? Where does your moral compass lay? Do you want to talk to an angel? There's nothing religious about them. The experience that you feel that becomes religious about them is when they show up and they're made of light, and you're like, holy light being, this can't exist. And it's divine, and you feel awesome when they're there, and you're like, wow, this is so amazing. If you step out of your body, you're just as amazing.
Yes.
You actually make the angel look, he looks to you like, oh man.
Right.
Right. So think about that. I say this all the time. They're there to help us. There's these beings that literally, when you decide to acknowledge them or acknowledge the universe, like show me something, they start to appear.
Sure.
When I saw my guides, I was so frightened.
Yep.
And then I felt it for the first like 10 seconds. I'm like, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. I'm going to punch this thing right in his face. And then there were two of them. And I'm like, oh my. And then I'm like, wait a second. I know you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, dude, we're your best friends.
Right.
And I'm like, I love you guys.
Right.
Why would I be so scared? But you have blue hair. That was the only difference. They had red shirts and blue hair. And I'm like, it's impossible to have giant blue hair. And they're looking at me like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's impossible about it?
What are you talking about?
Right.
Like when you guys go human, you have such a linear view of everything.
Right.
But then all your fantasy and imagination and your books and your creations are far out than anything that's out there.
Because that's stifled. That creativity is stifled very young and smothered out of you.
Right? Like they tell you, you got to grow up and be a man. Be a man. Yeah, it gets crazy. You can't let it get to you.
No, not at all. You just try it. Just
Listen,
try
it's there,
it.
whether
Just
you want it to be or not.
think a little differently tomorrow or tonight or in 2 weeks or never.
10%
Just
a week.
try it. Just give it a little try and see what happens.
I know you guys, everything was supposed to be about the dragons.
Oh.
The incoming energy, let me just say this because there's only 2 minutes left. The incoming energy brought in the dragon energy, golden dragon energies,
that's
right? So the dragon tried to, it was like my dragon. It was in the house with us. We weren't under. It was running around. I said,
that's
something
right.
in the house.
Yes. I remember.
I'm like, and it looks like the number 3.
Yes.
Like a seahorse almost is moving, and it wasn't wiggling. It was just coming across the room. And I'm like, yo, that's a dragon, but like a Chinese dragon. And then it called me like Ki Lai.
Yes, Squeak was going after it.
Yeah.
Remember? The cat was running after it.
The cats were going nuts. And I'm going, this thing's calling me Ki Lai. And it said to me, I'm yours. And it attached to me where my injury is. And only demonic entities and stuff like that go for the injured points.
Yeah.
And then it locked
It's a
its
weak
talons in. And it held itself in. And my body, I have a bad injury, so I was getting undensed for a while. Like you could break my arm by grabbing. I'm a pretty big dude. But I went from big to like a little weak. So I thought my bones were shallow for a while, and I was making jokes like, yo, I could fall and break an arm now. And this thing attached to me, and I felt completely different. I said, yo, I could run through that wall.
It was like a power up.
And it attached into me, and it said, I'm here if you need me, whatever. And then my guides went berserk. What the hell are you doing? Get rid of that thing. And just to keep the story short, I'll discuss it more next week. There's no need for the two of us, right? I don't actually need you. He said, I'm going to protect you in this injury and everything. I go, that's great, but you're lazy. Like these some of them have tendencies, just like we are, to be lazy. And I don't want to carry your dense weight.
Right. They want to feed on your energy. They want
Exactly. He was enjoying himself.
Like piggybacking off of you.
Exactly. But we all have these things, and sometimes it'll appear cool. And it came out a few times like, hey, I got you back. I'm right here. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's neat. But I can do stuff better than that. I don't need you for that. So I just want to say, guys, it's all out there. It's all real. And if you go with love, you're going to be protected and you're going to be awesome. So it's time to wake up and do it. Get out there. Start transcending the definitions that they've set upon us. And we love you.
We love you.
And